All right, man. First of all, I want to say thank you guys so much for 300K. I asked you guys last video when we had like 299K on the dot, can we hit it? And we literally hit that probably in like 2 hours. So I appreciate the hell out of y'all for that. If you are new, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, especially during this time. The NBA season is ramping up, and we just got a lot to talk about, man. Now, as we all know, NBA free agency day one was yesterday, and I was kind of conflicted on whether I wanted to make every single major move a video or if I wanted to break up the days like I'm doing right now, and I think I'm gonna just stick with the days. Now, I'm not trying to waste any time, so let's just get right into it. First, let's start with the move that everyone wanted to see going back to last year's trade deadline around March. This offseason, everybody wanted to see Lonzo Ball to Chicago, and it finally happened. This, to me, is like a hand-in-glove fit, like, honestly. Now, first of all, I don't think Lonzo is like the last star piece to this crazy superstar big three or anything like that. Like, he's not that. But for a team like Chicago that's past the rebuilding stage, that has a franchise player like Zach LaVine, to make the trade for Nikola Vucevic last March and to now bring in Lonzo Ball, they're building the perfect empire. Now, at least defensively, Lonzo Ball gives you a lot more length, a way better perimeter on-ball presence, and to keep it simple, Zach LaVine doesn't have to worry about guarding the other team's best assignment. Lonzo Ball now takes that. Also, offensively, you now have a much improved, versatile Lonzo Ball, who to me is just a great offensive weapon. He can play off ball as he did a lot last year and just hit spot up threes. Last year, he shot 40% from deep when he got open looks. Also, he can run a pick and roll with Nikola Vucevic while making his transition to Chicago a lot more easy now. Also, he's great in transition, so him and Zach LaVine on the break, you can even imagine how great that's going to be. So to me, this is easily an A move. Chris Paul signing a 4-year, $120 million extension that will expire when he's 40 years old. I'm sorry, this move to me is a solid C+. Now, trust me, I get it. Last year, Chris Paul came to the team and instantly made his presence felt, automatically took you back to the playoffs and all the way back to the NBA Finals. I get it. Also, having Chris Paul on the team alone, it elevates everybody. Devin Booker gets a playmaking and shot creation break. Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, all the open shooters, they get better looks. DeAndre Ayton, he's better in the pick and roll. He's actually utilized. Like, I understand all of that. But don't forget about this. Yes, you went to the NBA Finals, but in that first round, if LeBron and AD, if that team wasn't so damn injured, that Chris Paul injury story, that continues. Chris Paul, he has a long playoff injury history, and last year it just kind of gets laminated because they won, at least in the West. But for a player that already battled injuries in his younger days, and even last year, I'm not crazy about paying that man $30 million in the tail end of his years and up until when he's 40 years old. Like, I just don't like that. That's a C+ move to me. Mike Conley returning to the Utah Jazz, that move is just a solid B. Nothing too special because Mike Conley has been significantly unreliable as far as health, at least in the last 4 or 5 years, but he did take your team as far as the regular season to new heights, so losing him, you just get worse, so why would you do that? Kyle Lowry agreeing to a sign-and trade to go to the Miami Heat and join his best friend or one of his better friends, Jimmy Butler. This move to me is a solid B+. Now, I don't feel like Kyle Lowry takes you to the next level as far as the NBA championship. I'm going to just be honest. Where the league is right now, I don't think Kyle Lowry does that. But for a team that has Jimmy Butler, who's like 31, 32 years old, a player you just agreed to pay $50 million to when he's 36, you had to get that man a more win-now type of team. And by adding Kyle Lowry, you did that. Also, Kyle Lowry, he brings that championship and vet feel and presence to the team. He competes his ass off on both sides of the ball, even though he is a little bit older. And for an offense like Miami's that was just stale last year in the playoffs, Jimmy Butler couldn't run it to the level I feel like they wanted him to. He helps that as well as far as playmaking and pretty much getting it going. Last year in the playoffs, once Jimmy Butler couldn't get his shot going, their offense was dead ass. Use Duncan Robinson like he's Stephen Curry. Like, the man was running around screens and sets, and that was their offense. Jimmy Butler was damn near like their Draymond Green. Bam Adebayo wasn't aggressive. It just seemed like their offense was a mess. Now having Kyle Lowry, he can help kind of construct or reconstruct that and help fix that. The New York Knicks signing Evan Fournier to a deal that will pay him close to $20 million a year, I'm gonna give that a B-. It kind of feels like a Nick move because it does feel a bit risky and a little bit of an overpay, especially for a 3-point specialist. But for a player like Julius Randle, who was at least an MVP candidate in the regular season, and he did provide a significant amount of gravity as far as the scoring and the presence he was in the paint, it doesn't hurt to have more shooters. So Evan Fournier, that is a pretty good signing. It's just that much for him. I don't know, but it's a good signing. Jarrett Allen staying with the Cleveland Cavaliers for $100 million. Bro, some people on Twitter, y'all completely overreacted. Like, yes, he's getting paid $100 million, but y'all know it's over 5 years. That's $20 million annually. That's not a bad deal for a top 6, top 7 big in the NBA or center in the NBA. It's not. Now you pair Jarrett Allen, who is a work in progress, at least offensively, but he is a great rim protector. You pair him with Evan Mobley, who they're saying is the best big prospect, at least defensively, since Anthony Davis. You pair those two together in a conference where you have to play the Bucks with Giannis in that front court. You at least have the best defensive front court in the NBA. So how is that an L? I'll give this move a solid B. It's not like Cleveland, they have a crazy payroll where they're paying a bunch of players all this money anyway, so paying Jarrett Allen $20 million a year, that's not that bad. Jimmy Butler getting a 4-year, $184 million extension. That's a little tough, but I'm gonna give that a solid B. I love every single thing about Jimmy Butler's game, and I feel like last year's playoffs, it wasn't a good representation of his game. Like, I love this man's grit, his defense, his willingness to take on any challenge, his hardcore throwback style. Offensively, he playmakes, he can score, he's not selfish. Like, I love Jimmy Butler's game. But paying a player $50 million at 36 years old, especially a player that relies heavily on his physicality, it just sounds a little bit crazy, but I get it. Jimmy Butler as the whole package, he's the perfect player to build around. Like I said, he's not selfish. He has all those little intangibles, and he does every single thing besides shooting threes at least an above average clip. So I get it. It's just a little bit risky. Derrick Rose staying on the Knicks on a pretty manageable contract. Maybe I'm a little too high on this, bro, but I think that's an A move. Like, you're only paying him $14 million, and last year he was the difference maker for your team. Also, and I know he's an older version of it, but having a 6th man like that that's only 32 years old, that was pretty much the spark plug to your team, specifically in the playoffs when Julius Randle laid an egg, how does that hurt? Like, that only makes a young team trying to get to the next level, that only makes them better. Norman Powell staying in Portland for about 5 years, $90 million, for about $18 million annually. I'm gonna give that a solid B-, only because I didn't understand this to some extent. You traded away Gary Trent Jr. because I guess supposedly you didn't want to pay him a lot of money, but you basically just paid Norman Powell, who's older, and I know he's better, but you pay him the same amount for more years. Now you have a big core or a big 3 all under 6'4". That's terrible defensively. Also, by making this move, and I don't know where they stand with Damian Lillard, if they're trying to keep him happy, if they're shopping him, I don't know. But if they're trying to keep him happy, you have to shop CJ McCollum. And I like CJ McCollum, but you can't have a team that has $92 million tied into CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard, and Norman Powell and expect to keep Damian Lillard happy long term. Like, that's nowhere near a contending team in the West, and that's too much money for those 3 players. So you got to give it to CJ McCollum now. And lastly, for the Lakers, I feel like they had a pretty great night. Like, they did way better than even I expected. They got back Dwight Howard, somebody that I always felt like was a major loss last year. I like Marc Gasol, and I know he won Defensive Player of the Year 25 years ago, but he's not Dwight Howard right now, at least defensively. He was that rim protector, that athletic rim protector, and to me, kind of like that instant offense in the pick and roll with Rondo and LeBron James. He gives you that back. Also, they did bring back Trevor Ariza, who, you know, he's kind of like a roster filler. He's nowhere near that 3-and-D threat that he once was. But in this easy role that he will have, where all he's asked to do is stretch the floor and play a little bit of damn defense, it should be a decent signing. Also, they got Wayne Ellington Jr., who did shoot 42% from deep last year. So if he can shoot that or anywhere near that, that's going to help the Lakers, obviously. Also, they got Kent Bazemore, and I know some people kind of laugh and scoff at that signing, but Kent Bazemore, he takes a lot of pride defensively. He was always a good defensive player, and he just played beside Draymond Green, one of the best in the NBA, so he's improved in that, and he shot 40% from deep last year, so he's a legitimate 3-and-D threat. I don't see how that's a laughable signing at all. Like, that's exactly what the Lakers needed. I know I missed a lot of signings. It was just way too much to cover, way too many signings to happen, and there's probably going to be more as I drop this video. But last night's winners for me were the Miami Heat, getting PJ Tucker from the Milwaukee Bucks, getting Kyle Lowry from the Raptors, and keeping Jimmy Butler, and retaining Duncan Robinson. The Lakers making those imperative moves, not the most sexy moves, but they were much needed. And to me, the Chicago Bulls getting Lonzo Ball, pairing him now with Nikola Vucevic and Zach LaVine, and they still have some assets, I believe, with like Lowry marketing, so they can still make another move, and they basically made themselves a win now type of team. So I feel like those three teams, they won day one. If you guys like this video, this video is kind of weird for me to make because so much stuff is happening and it's still kind of ongoing. So I might drop this video and then DeMar DeRozan goes to the Knicks. Like, who knows? Like I said, if you guys like the video, thank you guys so much for 300K. Follow my Twitter. That's where I'm gonna be at all throughout free agency and all that stuff. Follow my Twitter, follow my IG, do all that great stuff, guys. And until next time, as always, stay tuned.